Welcome to the first in a series of G4 guitar theory lessons. What I'm going to do here is go through our PDF, but I'm going to do it one lesson at a time. So each video will just consist of one page. This is the G4 guitar essential music theory for the guitar student. This is the 2012 version. This is the cover that you're looking at now, just scrolling through. It was developed by myself, but with the support of the G4 Guitar Network teachers. Many of the ideas in this book come from the teachers themselves and even some of the students. So the first page that we're going to look at today is Theory Basics. So I'll just go through this very first paragraph. Music is essentially a language. Understanding the language of music will help you to learn musical concepts and will also allow you to communicate with other musicians. The basics of music theory are not difficult and do not require a lot of your time. As little as 20 minutes a week will give you a solid grounding in music theory within 12 months. So let's say 10 minutes twice a week will be enough. I suggest you also find a teacher, of course, to assist you with, as this will accelerate your learning and ensure you are not misunderstanding or getting stuck. Music theory, as much as you can read about it and learn about it, nothing beats a teacher. You will actually learn it much faster and the concepts will make sense, because when you get stuck or are not sure about something or it just doesn't make sense, a guitar teacher who understands music theory will be able to explain it to you in terms that you understand. Okay, there is another PDF. So to begin, please refer to the G4 Guitar Chords and Reading just for an introduction on the basics of music theory and music notation before proceeding here. You don't have to do that, but it's going to give you some basics about music reading, which also is incorporated into theory. So let's get started. The first thing here is the musical alphabet. There are 7 alphabetic letter names, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So it's very simple, very easy to learn. One of the exercises that I do with my students is ask them to learn it backwards as well. So to be able to say G, F, E, D, C, B, A. If you can't say G, F, E, D, C, B, A as quickly as you can say A, B, C, F, G, then you want to practice that. The reason being is that in music, we don't just go forward, we go backwards as often as we go forwards. So when you're learning theory and working with theoretical concepts in music, understanding how to go backwards in the alphabetical letters will make things a lot easier and a lot faster for you. So it's really worth just spending a little bit of time learning that. So the way to do it is to say G, F, E, G, F, E, G, F, E, and then add the D, G, F, E, D, G, F, E, D, G, F, E, D, and then add the C, G, F, E, D, C, etc. The reason that you do it like this is to do it like you learnt the language, the alphabet from the beginning, A, B, C, D, F, G. When you first started as a little kid, you started from the beginning. So let's start from the G and just turn it upside down. Okay, the next thing to know is what we call the musical note names, or the chromatic scale. There are 12 notes. Now this can be confusing for some people, because when we look at the 12 notes, we have the A, B, C, D, F, G there, but in some cases we have an A sharp or a C sharp or a D sharp, but we don't have a B sharp or an E sharp. If you look on here, you can see, I'll just go through here. Number 1 here is A. That's the first note. The second note is an A sharp, which can also be called a B flat. I'll explain that in a minute, but just for now, let's just look at the sharps. So number 1 is A, number 2 is A sharp, number 3 is B, number 4 is C. So you can see there was no B sharp. It went straight from B, number 3, to C. So this can be confusing, and you don't really need to know why just at the moment. It'll get explained later. So just understand for now, as we go through, you'll see the C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, and then there's an F. So there's no E sharp, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. So basically, if you just remember this little rule, that the word B, which is just 2 letters, B and E have no sharps. You can just remember that, B and E have no sharps. So B jumps straight to C, E jumps straight to F. So now you should be able to look away from that and say the chromatic scale. A, A sharp, B, no B sharp, so C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, no E sharp, straight to F, F sharp, G, G sharp. So you don't need that now. You should be able to memorize it very quickly simply by knowing that B and E have no sharp. So let me explain the flats. The notes have what they call enharmonic names. It means that they are named depending on the situation, depending on the key they're in and how they're being used. So in this case, this number 2 here, where we've got an A sharp B flat, it's A sharp when the key actually names it as an A sharp. So in certain keys, this particular note will be A sharp. In other keys, it will be B flat, but it's the same note on the guitar or on any instrument for that matter. It sounds the same. An A sharp and a B flat do not sound any different, but as far as the, let's think of it as the grammatics, depending on how we're using it, will depend on whether it's called an A sharp or a B flat. And it's very easy to understand because the sharp is in front, the flat is behind, so an A sharp and a B flat are the same thing. So when you get here to C sharp, it's obvious that the D flat is going to be the same thing, the D sharp, the E flat, etc. So that's where the flat and the sharp work. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, moving along here, the 12 notes are known as the chromatic scale. So we've already discussed that. That's the chromatic scale. An easy way to remember the chromatic scale, as I said, is simply to remember that B and E have no sharps. On the guitar, you can work out any note simply by starting on an open note and using the chromatic scale. So if you go to the A string, which is the 5th string, the open string there will be A. If you go to the very first fret, it will be an A sharp, or you can call it a B flat. If you go to the 2nd fret, it will be a B, to the 3rd fret, a C, and so on. So by knowing the notes on the guitar, the 6 notes which you will get by looking at the G4 guitar chords and reading book, then you will be able to work out any of the notes on the guitar. Okay, so exercise. The open notes on the guitar are E, B, G, D, A, E. This is going from the 1st string to the 6th string, the thinnest to the thickest. Apply the above chromatic scale to each string to work out where the C note is on each string. Match the notes on your guitar to those notes on a piano keyboard. So here you can see the piano keyboard. So we have the C note, you can see that we've got white notes and black notes, and you can see the chromatic scale. The piano is very nicely laid out for us to be able to easily understand the concept of the chromatic scale. So we've got a C, and then the black notes are what we call the accidentals. So that's C sharp or D flat, C, D, there you go. So you can see it's just like D, D sharp, E, E flat. So it's very easy to understand and see the chromatic scale on a keyboard. Guitar is a little bit harder, but here is the chromatic scale laid out on the guitar. You can see the open notes here, E, A, D, G, B, E, or going the other way, B, E, B, G, D, A, E, and then you can see the chromatic scale works out along each string. So now you should be able to work out any note on the guitar neck. That's the basics of theory to get you started. So all you really want to remember today is that there are 7 letters in the alphabetic music alphabet, and the chromatic scale, which are the 12 notes, and then to apply that to the keyboard, and then to apply it to the guitar. Hope that's been helpful, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next lesson.